Hello, I'm Donna Jackson of Hubcap Productions. Welcome to Sea Flowers and Lake Stories, which is presented on Cherry Lake, Altona, on the lands of the Bunurong people. It's supported by Hobsons Bay City Council for the Heritage Festival 2023 and is an art and industry project. Artist Sandra Lancaster created the first sea flowers in 2007. This version has been built from the original mould by Tony Mead of Industrial Art Signs. The soundtrack you're about to hear features recollections of Cherry Lake from times past and celebrates how it's used today. These stories were collected and recorded by Jennifer Lund and were shaped into a soundscape by Chris Downey. Welcome to Sea Flowers and Lake Stories.
I'm Chloe, and I'm 10 years old. I live in Altona. The Bunurong people have lived in this area for over 40,000 years. Shell middens along the shoreline show where people caught and ate fish, crabs, and mussels. This area was rich in food. It was a place where a lot of bird life could be hunted, including swans and ducks. There are also records of hundreds and hundreds of kangaroos jumping across the plains of what is now Altona and Leverton that were hunted using tools made from stone and wood. The Bunurong had canoes made from bark, which were often able to support a small fire in the middle for cooking fish. They had a great respect for the land and all of the animals. Today, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people from all over Australia live within Hobsons Bay.
My name is Sandra Lancaster and I made sea flowers. I got the idea for the sea flowers from a shape I had been working on at the time. I had made a small version of the sea flowers as a bronze and a wax, and I mostly work with natural forms, and I like them to refer to more than one thing. So this shape could be a sea flower, a sea star, or a sea sponge. Flowers symbolise to me new life, reproduction, the cycle of life and death, growth. When they bloom, they open up to the world stage from a closed position to an open one, now open, able to enjoy and reflect the light of the sun and the stars.
Hi, I'm Tony Mead from Industrial Art Signs, and I made the sea flowers from artist Sandra Lancaster's original mould. When I first saw the sea flowers, I was really interested in the organic shape of them, plus also the way they reflected light. They're basically made by pouring in polyurethane foams, and then the foams expand into the mould. Then the mould releases and the flowers come out. After they come out, they're painted. We also put an anchor bolt in them so that they can actually be anchored to the bottom of the sea. The sea flowers look good on the water because I think they look organic. They look like they belong. They don't look like they're man-made. They look like, a water lily or a starfish or something like that. So they definitely look like they belong in that environment.
Hi, I live in Altona. My name is Ethan. When I go to Cherry Lake, I imagine it was cars racing around the edge. Mum told me it was a racetrack for cars and motorbikes in the 1950s. There were no barriers and anyone could get up really close to the cars racing. But after 2 years and a crash that killed a man, the track got closed. Then it was turned into a lake.
Remember, Altona's only 5 made roads in it, so it's a big change I've seen in Altona. Jack Edwards was my grandfather. They pioneered the town. Jack was a horse breaker and a cartage contractor and breaking in horses for the First World War.
Hello, this is Gerard Morell and I work for Melbourne Water.
Melbourne Water actually owns the lake. It's a stormwater retarding basin. So Melbourne Water acquired it in the 1960s after, I think, one particularly bad flood that flooded Seaholme, which was a newish suburb at the time. So we acquired it because prior to that, it was just the remains of a natural swamp that was used locally, for things like boating. But we acquired it, so it's got this sort of hard edge at the eastern end, at the Millers Road end, which you might have noticed, that concrete edge, and that actually marks the the sort of formal retarding basin, which is retarding basin because it's such a terrible name. It's designed to fill with water, and then for the water to slowly go down to the sea via that narrow channel that goes underneath Millers Road, rather than simply forming, as it did historically, this massive sheet of water that linked up with Cororoit Creek and just covered the whole area that we now know as Seaholme.
Hi there, I'm Kylie Cooper.
And I'm Alec Tucker.
And we are a family that's grown up using Cherry Lake for different parts of our lives along the last maybe 30 years, and then 15 years being a mother and having a child to use it with as well.
It's been a very big part of my childhood. For as long as I can remember, we've been going to Cherry Lake for picnics, roller skating around, bike rides, just even a little walk with the dog.
And now we've started our parkrun training around Cherry Lake. It's exactly 3.4 k's, and so that's another great thing that we can use Cherry Lake for. And the reason that it is so good is because it's got this amazing accessibility. So anyone of any fitness level, any age or any ability is able to use it because it's a circle and it's flat.
We have to recognise that it's to most people to look at, it's a big and often quite beautiful. You've seen it probably in the late evening, with the setting sun over it, that orangey colour, or when there's a high wind and there's waves breaking over the Millers Road end of it, or seeing a couple of pelicans, coming into land like small aircraft. It's just, it's beautiful. For me, the challenge is more protecting what we call the natural values, the fragments of natural environment around the lake that are really precious and special and a part of what people love, mostly around the northern and western side of it. The remnants of the old Altona swamp complex, if you like, the home of the Altona skipper butterfly, the remnant salt marsh, which is a rare type of vegetation, and various other things.
We're one of the original families into Altona. I used to live down in Ramari Street. We built the house there after the war. My dad came back from the war. There was two lakes there that I remember. One was just where the Civic Centre is built now. I just remember massive flocks of birds flying between the sea and the lake. But the lake itself, it developed over a period of time. I guess duck shooting was a thing a lot of people did in those days, not so much now, but there was massive flocks of ducks on the lake. We'd take them home, we'd eat them. We wouldn't just shoot them, we'd shoot them to eat them.
Hola, mi nombre es Juan. Nosotros vinimos desde Colombia para pasar vacaciones aquí. Estamos en el lago Cherry Lake y estamos tratando de tener un momento agradable en familia, de pescar algo y divertirnos.
I remember one flood, not the big flood, and that's when that flooded, it flooded nearly all of Altona. It was just a big sheet of water right through to the beach. Yeah, when it flooded again, when the lake flooded and overflowed and it came, but we lived in Ramari Street, and the waters came right up to Ramari Street. They were up about halfway up our shins in Ramari Street. I remember that flood because we were all landlocked that time too. You know, we couldn't get in or get out of Altona. Well, we could get landlocked here if we got a flood, and that's happened quite a few times. Because Miller's Road would go underwater. The only road in originally was down around past the race course, down around the Pines.
Because some people will say they don't like the reeds, that the reeds look untidy, or, you know, in winter that when they brown off, they're a fire hazard, or, you know, they can't see the water. But so what they need to understand is there's birds in there, lurking in there somewhere, leading, you know, their lives almost entirely in these reeds, you know, off all the insects and tiny fish that are living in these safe spaces between the reeds. So there's the cryptic bird species, there's the open water bird species and wader birds. Also, there are the what I suppose are called the woodland birds that you're more likely to experience really close up. And they're the birds flitting across the path as you walk around, especially on the north side of the lake.
It's something that I absolutely love to do on a Sunday morning, is walk around the lake. It's such a beautiful, peaceful place, and I love bird life, so it's such an amazing place to see so many different birds. I sometimes help do BirdLife Australia. They do the bird count, and I can't remember how many species are here, but there's numerous species here. And so just by standing in one spot, you can just listen and see them all, and it's incredible. So
hello, I'm Ron Coleman, and I can remember Cherry Lake probably mainly from the 60s, and riding my horse, Gypsy, around the lake. In those days, a lot, like the roads were still getting built in Altona. I came out from England with the family as a migrant, and I spent my teenage years in Altona, and lots of people my age had horses. In those days, Cherry Lake was more like a dust bowl. Now, I don't know whether that was because there'd been a drought or perhaps they drained it. And I can remember all these cracks. It was just like a blistered crater. And it was snake infested. And they used to have rodeos and jump outs and things like that in Altona in those days. When I first got the horse, Gypsy, she was a former racehorse, and I had trouble pulling her up, and she just bolted down the street that I lived in, heading straight for a 3-strand barbed wire fence, and I thought, oh no. I just closed my eyes, and I don't know how, but she leapt the fence, and I couldn't afford a saddle, so I was riding bareback, and somehow I stayed on, and my friend said, hey Ron, bet you couldn't do that again.
Northeastern corner of the lake is this fragment of this endangered vegetation type called coastal salt marsh. And At one point in the year, it becomes crushingly obvious because a lot of it, the dysphyma or rounded moonflower, has huge, really, really bright pink flowers on it that are so bright that in aggregate you can see them from the satellite photos. Two obvious different types of reeds, and that is what people variously call bulrush or kumbungi. Bulrush has got a quite hard thing, like a point that looks almost like a drumstick. The common reed, Phragmites australis, is the one with the feathery top. All the billions of microorganisms that are hanging off those reeds, underwater, they're eating the pollutant nutrients that are in the water.
The market just adds that little bit of mix on a weekend when it runs here. And
my name's Maya.
Can you tell us about your stall and what you're selling at the market today?
My stall's Tranquility Slime, and I sell slime at the market.
Hello, I'm Sam. I'm from Cyprus, original. We used to live in Ascotville. We started to come to this market about 17 years ago.
I have a dog, a golden retriever. He's 6. I've been walking him here since he's been 2, called Manny. And I think it's just for Cherry Lake, I mean, obviously you've got the circuit all the way around, but you've also got, in terms of training dogs here, it's fantastic. I'm a dog trainer. And so you've got lots of different surfaces and sounds, and obviously desensitizing to the bird life and everything else that's around. Obviously snakes are here as well, which can be an advantage when you're training, and it can be obviously a huge disadvantage as well.
Yes, there are snakes. There are tiger snakes. There are tiger snakes. There are tiger snakes. There are tiger snakes. I haven't seen any other kind of snake like the brown snakes, but that's not to say that they're not there, because obviously there's there's plenty for snakes to love. There's sort of they're attracted to moderately damp environments, and there are various things for them to eat, birds and other reptiles and rats and mice and so on. So I've seen snakes in shaggy, grassy, densely vegetated parts of Cherry Lake. But I think it's important to say, for everyone's knowledge, I've also seen snakes as bold as you like, out in mown grass. So I think the advice is just keep your eyes open. Oh yeah, I've seen them on the path too.
One time when I saw a snake, it was slithering along. They don't really come to you.
It's a beautiful area, so when you're walking around it, it's not only a good walk, it's beautiful scenery around you, and you see the little native birds, and occasionally you might see a snake.
Occasionally you do see a snake.
Well, you do, yeah, in the reeds.
My name's Lucianato. I'm a local to Altona, and I've been living nearby Cherry Lake for the last 25 years. My introduction to Cherry Lake was in, I think, about 1977. I was a social work student in my final year of the degree at Melbourne University, and to earn some money over the school break and the Christmas holidays, we ran a holiday program for kids. There was, in those days, very little childcare available aside from family daycare. Full stop. One day we loaded all the kids into a minibus and we drove to Cherry Lake, which had been in the process of being developed and somewhat landscaped. And it was a very warm day. The kids came, we all got out of the bus, the kids were running everywhere, and then we realised there was tiger snakes all over the place. So we had to bundle them back into the bus and get them the hell out of there.
In March last year, there was this pollution event that killed up to 20 tonnes of fish. Well, that's how much we removed. And so there's been a lot of interest in water, the quality of the water at Cherry Lake. And I think the first thing to say is Cherry Lake is like almost every other urban water body or waterway in that it's essentially polluted. But Cherry Lake has about 20 different families of water bugs. And so it's not terrible, you know, and there's clearly fish and birds living off those water bugs and the vegetation that's around the lake.
In later years, when I visited my dad, who lived close to the Cherry Lake, I used to do the 4K run around Cherry Lake, so that was different. And I noticed a lot more bird life, obviously coming for the water. As the area grew up, of course, all of a sudden we ran out of places to adjust, and as you got older, all of a sudden you thought, oh, I want a car now, so you sold your horse and got a car. But I still miss the horse.
My name is Alenka Doleshalova, and I'm using here every day, yeah? Exercising for this and other one over there, and sometimes walking around, yeah? Every day, yeah.
The people that I've come across on the lake are primarily local residents who just love it as their space, this huge, really generous space actually, really generous calming space that they walk their babies around, walk their dogs around. There's a group, you know, various individuals who are obviously carers for people with disabilities who walk around the lake. And there are people I see taking photos of birds. So there's quite a few different users.
Over the years since I've come to live here, I've just seen it develop, and it's a beautiful place to walk the dog and sit and, you know, ride your bike, etc. And my husband and I love being near it.
Yes, hello, my name's Marilyn, and I moved to Altona about a year and a half ago. I know of Altona because my parents are Maltese, and lots of Maltese people settled here a long time ago, and most of them worked at Toyota or the refineries. So there are still some Maltese-sounding streets in Altona, so Valletta Lane and a few others, plus you can buy Maltese food on Pier Street. So it's a wonderful community. Never felt anything like it. I've made more friends in a year and a half here than I did in my 20 years living somewhere else. It's a great place.
You meet nice people, sometimes bad people, but 90% good people. You're talking, yeah, and shopping. Yeah. We are everybody friend here. Yeah, we have nothing to share, you know? Yeah, that's good, yeah.